Star Trek Picard, Season 3, the final season, Episode 9, titled VOX. All right, let me just clear these scores out real quick.
There was such a long pause. I think you expected me to say something. And
yeah, I did. I expected you to say something, and you were just like,
I mean, well, what does VOX mean, right?
Voice?
It means voice, yeah. Basically vocals, voice. So it's like, he is the transceiver, I guess, for the Borg. So I guess VOX makes sense. But it's not as cool as Locutus. Like, that was like a cool name.
Yeah, anyone that edits audio knows what VOX means. It's Latin for voice.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of them out there that do that.
Yeah, it's like every audio program, though, uses some version of that.
Super chat from Stay Saze.
Stay Saze. Either the bridge of the D is really, really bright, or my eyes haven't gotten used to seeing dark bridges. I didn't cry. You cried.
No, bro. We both cried, bro. We both cried. Yeah, no, it's true. Isn't it funny how everybody was complaining about the lighting, and then as soon as you get back on, well, we're going to talk about it. When you get there, you realize, oh my God, it's the same lighting as the show.
Yeah.
So that was intentional. When
Picard says he missed the carpet, I laugh my butt off. Okay, here we go, everyone. We open up with the red door. Dun, 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 dun.
We're in Jack's head. And so we do this every week. So let's do this the right way. Okay. So last week's episode ended with Deanna Troy's hand on Jack's red door as she was about to open it. Vadic is defeated and dashed into 1,000 pieces against the Shrike. Data won the battle over Lore, and our TNG crew was back together for the first time in over 20 years. But what is the darkness surrounding Jack? Some of the things we hope to learn from this episode include what is behind the door, what is going to happen at Frontier Day, and what's in Hangar Bay 12 in the Fleet Museum. Here we've got the beginning with Deanna, and they show this visually that we're inside Jack's brain, and she's telling him things like, don't be scared, I'm here with you. She's giving him a lot of assurance that everything's going to be okay.
Right.
Right up until she opens the door.
Yep. Dum, 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 dum. And she's like, I gotta go. This isn't working. Sorry, Jack. Not working.
The pure look of horror on her face when she opens the door, and we don't know what she's seen, and all we know is the connection's been broken, and she's like, I gotta go. And somebody said earlier, like, that's a terrible counselor move. But, the reality is it sends a message to us, and this is an upvote for me. It tells us exactly how we should feel about Jack, because Deanna's scared of him.
Right.
Deanna's not scared of much, guys.
Right.
Like she just doesn't get scared of things.
Right.
She's scared of this. And that tells you that, oh crap, we should be scared. Like what Jack is capable of is going to be terrifying.
He's like, what did you see? What did you see?
He's like screaming, don't just leave. Tell me what you saw.
From No Money G for $5. Thank you, No Money G. I'm blown away and happy as a fly in a pile of poo. Literally, yes. Seasons 1 and 2. Thank you for giving me hope so long ago.
Oh, that's great.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome,
sir.
No Money G. The receipts came out this week. I mean, I've already been communicating with some people who've been kind of DMing us and saying things like, wow, guys, you were so right. And it's nice to hear that, because the beginning was, really, guys? You sure you're not just full of crap here? Are you not just shills? Are you not just shilling for this thing because you got to see it early? Well, you guys be the judge. Were we shilling, or is this not just
friends of mine threatened to come to my home and physically harm me?
Well, if you were shilling, I probably would too.
Yeah. So what she saw was, we are the Borg.
I love that. Yeah, it's the Borg cube in a and some if you were thinking it was the Borg, this might be what you thought was coming, but it was a surprise to me when the first time I watched it.
Yeah.
And a pleasant surprise. I love that we got the collective's voice. And of course, now we know why Deanna's terrified.
Yeah. A lot of people I saw people complaining, like, why was the vines and the lights and the red and the door all red? It shouldn't have been green. I'm like, no, because that would have been obvious, bro.
Right. Yeah. You couldn't just completely give it away. When you stop and think about it, Terry gave it away the whole season. I mean, those vines, they are, and I think it's funny because the comment I got from the person we were watching it with was like, you didn't realize what those vines were? And it's like, I just didn't. It didn't connect with me for some reason, which is good. And it's actually a pretty huge giveaway.
Well, to be fair, yeah, I think he spoils it in like the credits.
Sort of. Now, when you go back and look, it's spoiled.
Right. If you go back and look now, you're gonna see all kinds of stuff. Like from episode 1, all that was in there. It's not like he was adding stuff as he got. Like those are the same credits the whole way, and he spoils a lot of stuff in the credits. But you don't really know it's a spoiler until after you've seen it.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I think the clues were all there, and you gotta give mad respect for at least that. The clues. He let the clues be out there. A lot of creatives won't give you this much information. Into their show because they're afraid you'll figure it out. And I don't think that was the case at all. And for everybody who is upset that the Borg are back, I'm getting more comments than I expected about how disappointed they are that the Borg are the big bad. Again, there's a couple things you got to think about here, and I really want you to take this to heart. Picard season 1, the Borg were not done correctly. We had a disabled Borg cube. We had a bunch of, Borgs on board, a ton of Borg on board. They were just, launched into space. The Romulans were not handling it properly. It just was not great. The only good Borg stuff we got was the moment where 7 of 9 took control of the Borg cube for a second,
and then they totally cucked her.
And then that was nothing, a nothing burger. So, and then in season 2, I mean, can we all agree that the Borg weren't handled very well in season 2?
The Borg in season 2, that's not. Can we not even pretend that those are real Borg? I love that Shaw literally says, "Forget about that bull crap." Right, he says this in episode 4. He's like, "Forget about this, the bull crap with whatever. Yeah. The real Borg are still out there." I was like, "Oh, thank God he said that." Even before I knew that the Borg were the big bad, I was like, I haven't gotten a conclusion to the Borg yet.
Right. And that's the most important thing to say here. So the reason why it's critical that the Borg are at this place is because when you think about it, the way Locutus was handled was weird. Like the best of both worlds, they took him, he became Locutus. We had Wolf 359. He was brought back and saved as Locutus. And then the next episode, we just moved on. Right. And when you stop and think about it, this is probably the single most thing, the biggest thing that ever happened to him as a character. It was a part of him that was never really resolved properly for us. And now we're getting answers to a bunch of things. And listen, the show is called Star Trek Picard. It's really about him. We are getting the TNG, but this is the wrap up of Jean-Luc Picard.
Right.
And what better way to wrap up Jean-Luc Picard than to finally settle the Locutus story and what that means for his legacy, what that means for his children, what that means to Star Trek as a whole. You have to do this.
Yeah,
what other big bad could step in and give this sort of gravitas into this season? Who could it have been that would have made sense for Jean-Luc Picard?
And don't answer the paw wraiths, because that was a DS9 thing. That wasn't a TNG thing. So the thing is this, even though I probably wouldn't cool to seen that, but that's not a DS9. That's not. I don't need a conclusion to the paw wraiths. I needed a conclusion. I needed a conclusion to the Borg. Like really, plain and simple.
Or at least Picard, not necessarily because this isn't a conclusion to the Borg necessarily.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but I needed to know what was happening. Here's the deal. In First Contact, we got like a sort of a semi-conclusion, and then Voyager gave us sort of a semi-conclusion. And the whole time for 30 years, I was wondering, what's up with the Borg? We've made videos. We made videos about it. What happened to the Borg? Yeah. What are they doing? We've made theory videos that's gotten millions of views. Thank you for watching those. Wondering what's going on with the damn Borg. And then in season 1 of freaking Picard season 1, the Borg are just a derelict species being pushed around by Romulans. Right. It was so unfulfilling. It was like, it was the absolute worst answer you could have given me. And then season 2 comes along, and I'm promised Borg. And what do I get? This weird pseudo-Borg, the Geordi thing. That was weird.
Mm-hmm.
And then the conclusion, and then she's like guarding something. I don't know. Again, I'm just sitting here with blue balls being like, where are the Borg? Where's the real Borg at? Here they are.
Well said. Yeah, I think you're right.
Christopher Mays for $4.99. The fact that it's the Borg gets a downvote from me because they are overused, but it's an upvote on execution. We wish we didn't have Borg in seasons 1 and 2. Yes, I agree.
That's the right answer, Christopher. Thank you for that.
I'm gonna that upvote. I'm gonna take your upvote and I'm gonna apply it to my column there, brother.
Yeah, no, I'll take it too. In fact, I was going to upvote the Borg anyways, but Chris's point, I think, shines a good light on it. I wish we hadn't have gotten it in season 1 and season 2. You know, you could have got 7 of 9 back without bringing a Borg cube around.
Yeah, you didn't need the Borg. You could have brought 7 and 9 back without even addressing the Borg. I don't understand why the Borg cube had to be a thing. It's like you took like the biggest bad there was, and you just totally chained it up in the backyard, like an emaciated lion.
Well, emaciated was the word for Picard season 1. Picard was emaciated. Starfleet was emaciated. Everything was, they deconstructed everything in that season. So
yeah. It was, you know what it was like, Shane? Yeah. It was like when you go to a really nice restaurant and you buy you splurge, right? You got your tax money or whatever, and you're like, I'm gonna get a nice big steak. I'm gonna get a steak at this place called Maestro. It's like $120. I can't wait. I never treat myself. And what they bring you out like this deconstructed steak where it's like finely cut, and there's like 4 little portions, and it's all like, it's like a piece of art, and all you wanted was a goddamn porterhouse. And you're like, I didn't ask for this. I didn't want this. I don't want to pay for this. Where's the real meat?
Yes, a deconstructed steak makes no sense, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah. Don't stop doing that. LA. Dude, Los Angeles is crazy. Foxhound, are we in for a treat for episode 10? Without spoiling it, I can tell you this. Yeah, absolutely.
The satisfaction you should feel at the end of episode 10 cannot be understated.
Yeah, I hope you guys, I hope some of you at least now see where we were coming from the last, I don't know, 7 months. Because we were banging this drum for a long time, and like we couldn't tell you why. Tell you why. But like, we can tell you this. I know there's 1 more episode left. And what did I say 3 months ago? At the very least, you're going to be thoroughly entertained. Like, if you're not crying, I get it. But at the very least, thoroughly entertained.
Yeah.
Daniel
Altamirano.
Thank you, Shane. Jesus, I can't. For ARS 225, whatever that is, thank you. No one has ever heard from the Borg in the last 10 years. Seasons 1 and 2 never existed and barely just saved us all. We can forget them. That's...
Well, actually, let me explain how that was done. I know it looks like a retcon, but here's the reality. There was no Borg during season 1. Not really. Remember, they had been disconnected from the hive mind.
Right, and yeah. So the cube they found was a disconnected cube.
Right. So there technically were no, I mean, they were Borg, but there was no, hive of Borganism, I guess. There was no Borg hive mind to deal with during season 1.
Yeah. The way that they presented that though was like, this is what's left of the Borg.
Right.
And you're like, whoa, you're just going to tell us that? We don't get to see this? Yeah,
they made it seem like that was all that was left from the Borg, right?
Yeah.
So then season 2, we get Geordi, right? So we get the Borg Queen in an alternate timeline, right? No, it was an alternate time. It's like, so they went to the mirror universe or something like that.
I'm not even sure what it is. And I'm gonna say it one more time. Why even do like an alternate universe when you had the mirror universe right there? You could have just used the mirror universe. You didn't have to do that. I know it wasn't. But why invent another reality.
Because the mirror universe is not one of our realities.
It's just so weird. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so
it could have been great. No, it could. Honestly, it could have been great. We wrote a whole theory on how that could have been a fantastic show.
Yeah, but they didn't tie it up right, and they didn't even follow their own time travel logic, bro.
Right. So, anyways, we got Geordi for that one,
which was like an alternate Borg, then mixed with Geordi.
Yeah. So honestly, there was no Borg even then. I mean, honestly, they even canceled. They retcon in this, like you said earlier, was with Captain Shaw, who said that dumb thing that happened. So I mean, that really wasn't Borg activity necessarily. So I see what you're saying here, Daniel. The reason she said that, I think, is because of those reasons, that we haven't had any true Borg in 10 years. So good point. Thank you.
Andre Benson for $5. At first, the red door revealing to me was a little underwhelming, but after the reveal, boy, it turned up. Changed mind about it. Yeah.
Right. And if you guys think about it, the transwarp corridors are red. So that could be a representation of the transwarp corridors, actually. So
I didn't catch that. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's well, if you look at it even here, this is a transwarp corridor, which we'll see when we get to Jack later. And they are, so maybe that's why they were red.
All right, from Zeti Zassi. Damn, bro.
S-T-E Zassi.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I'm really bad with names. I could barely spell my own name. Season 2 Borg is Borg brought from Wish.
The Wish version of Borg.
Can I upvote your interview with Terry Metalis where you pretended you hadn't seen all 10 episodes early? Shh, bro.
Oh, that's so great. Thank you for that. Yes, the Wish version of Borg.
Yeah. The Jaborgi is literally like the Wish.com version of the Borg.
Yeah. Well
That's
said.
funny. He's upvote the interview with Terry where we pretended we had not seen it. Shh. From Joe, how can 10 possibly top 9? Give me the tease. I'm not kidding. You're crazy, man.
Well, I mean, I think 9's already left us. I think 9 has left us in a place where, I mean, it's a cliffhanger. Aren't you dying to know what's going to happen next week?
10 is the conclusion, right?
Right. So, so imagine how it can be concluded and how that could possibly top the thing. But make sure you watch all the way to the end of next week's episode because...
Oh, my God.
That's important.
Right. Forgot. I almost forgot about that. I almost forgot about that.
How could you forget about that?
Oh, you guys.
Say no more. Say no more.
I'm not saying
Just watch all the way to the end, guys.
But listen, when you think it's over, it's not over. And then when you think it's over again, just to be clear, it's not over. It's not over until you see white text on black screen. Just to be clear, do not stop watching until you see white text on black screen, please.
Yes.
Do not miss next week. You can't miss it. From STE, season 2 Borg, not Borg. Yeah, I figured that much. Thank you for sir.
Thank you for the super chats.
Thank you for the super chats, guys. From Adam Mardell, just watched episode 9. Wow, I don't think I stopped crying from the second they arrived at the Fleet Museum until Enterprise D went to warp. That was so emotional for me too.
Rewatched it over and over again.
Yeah, I watched it like 15 times, dude. So what's funny is we have screeners where you can only watch it a certain amount of times, and I'm like, is every time when I rewind it, is it counting as a view?
Probably, and then I wouldn't be able to watch it.
I know, I was worried about that. From M. Stark, tell me I'll find out more about my dear Enterprise E. It's my favorite ship. I need to know what happened to it. Glad it's implied Worf was the captain. In the words of Worf, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, they handled that really well. And the reason why is because the E is not the hero of this show.
Right.
And you have to skip the E, which we actually find out in this episode, which we'll get to. You guys probably missed it. I bet a lot of people missed the skipping of the E in this episode, but we'll get to that. But there is content out there that talks about Worf being the captain of the E.
Yes.
I think it's some non-canon stuff. And I do believe that the E story will eventually be told in some way. And it was indicated to us that story would, is yet to be told some way. And I love that they gave it an open door here.
There's some official comic books though, like official from Paramount comic books about Worf and the E.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about that, but what I can tell you is that if you look at the beginning of the season, yeah, in conversation, Geordi mentioned that they obviously couldn't use the Enterprise E, the ship that debuted in Star Trek First Contact and as the destroyed Enterprise D successor. However, what Geordi is alluding to is basically what happened was there's in the beginning of the show, I just missed this here. I hate my mouse wheel. There was something at the beginning. Yes. The latest episode, Fleeing the Titan. I'll find it for you guys, but there was something at the beginning that gave us some hints that the E was going to be. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Ahead of Star Trek Picard Season 3's debut, Paramount Plus released some personnel files from the Titan's computer explaining what the Enterprise crew has been up to in the years since Star Trek Nemesis. Worf's file confirmed that he re-enlisted in Starfleet full-time after his brief stint in diplomacy and eventually achieved the rank of captain. It also confirmed that he continued to serve aboard Enterprise E, though the account stopped short of clearly confirming that Worf became the Enterprise's captain, as shown in the Star Trek Picard novel, The Last Best Hope. So it's believed that there was some sort of incident. What the file says is that Worf's time back on Enterprise E was brief, and that he left after the incident above Krilliar Prime. Krilliar Prime. So something happened at Krilliar Prime that he was involved in, and I'm guessing the E, got destroyed.
E might not have made it.
Right. And, so maybe he was the captain, maybe he wasn't. I'm sure that story is going to come out, though. And, yeah.
So back to the review here, and we'll do super chats as they come, guys. So Beverly makes a point of telling him like Jack's never been assimilated, and this is when we start getting the information. And Dee's like, Deanna's like, yeah, no, it's the Borg, 100% the Borg.
So this is really important here because I think some of the complaints that we're going to get start here. So Beverly basically has this moment when Deanna's explaining what's happened, right? She trusts, and we have to trust that Deanna knows what she's talking about. Beverly goes into like thinking mode, right? And she's thinking, well, okay, how could it be Jack? What could it be?
Right.
And she starts to put all these things together. And she very effectively is able to describe the entire situation as it's unfolded.
Right.
That Jack is a transceiver because transceivers are organic, just like when birds fly in a flock, they immediately turn together without thinking, or bees or ants. And then she even, says that, well, Picard didn't have aromatic syndrome. And I know some of the complaints are going to be like, well, how did she know all this stuff? Or how did she figure it out? And why didn't they show us it and stuff like that? All I can say is that there's only 10 episodes. There's only so much time to show things. And if there was one Starfleet personnel that you would trust that would be able to put all these clues together to figure it out, it would have to be Beverly Crusher. As a medical professional, as one of the best medical professionals in Starfleet, we'd have to trust that if somebody was able to kind of put all those thoughts together, it would be her. And so therefore it's believable to me, even though they don't explain how she necessarily, processed through each one of those things. It's kind of off the top of the head. Might have been a little better if she suggested it as more of a suggestion than a fact, but it is believable to me, and it does not take me out of the story. So
yeah, that's fair. I do like this. By the way, a few episodes ago, people kept asking me, like, why do they have Picard's body? And I was having to make stuff up. I'm like, well, maybe it's because he was in the Nexus, and maybe it's because he's a captain, and, they don't want people to get his body. I really wish I could have told you guys. It's because Soon was investigating the what was going on with his head, because it wasn't aromatic, disorder.
Right. So, yeah. So apparently the way she's seeing it is that Soong recognized that it really wasn't actually aromatic syndrome and decided to keep the body for study. Those are, let's be serious. Those are guesses that are being displayed as facts because they don't really know what was going on in Soong's head. But we can assume that's a reasonable guess. That might have been the case. And the fact that Beverly would know if something, because you got to remember, they paid this off earlier in the season by making it look like they said, oh no, Jack, that's your aromatic syndrome acting up.
Right.
You have aromatic syndrome. So even then they just really couldn't detect it.
Well, it's funny. It's like when they were saying that, I'm like, there's no way that's aromatic syndrome. And even then, they were detecting aromatic syndrome. I didn't put the pieces together when I was first watching it that we're seeing what Picard would have been saying. And in First Contact, remember, devoid of any kind of nanites or implants, he was hearing and seeing the Borg. He was seeing visions in the mirror, same as Jack.
So I have another upvote because that never made sense to me. Like, it actually bothered me back in the day that he had those things happening to him. And I'm like, he doesn't have anything going on. What is happening? There's no devices. There's no, how could he possibly be doing it? Well, guess what? Star Trek Picard Season 3 just explained it. They fixed a part of old canon here for us. Yeah, and now it makes sense.
It's funny. I remember when I was, we weren't on YouTube back then, obviously. But I remember thinking to myself, like, wait a minute, this doesn't really add up. Maybe in the movie they're going to explain it somehow. Maybe there's some like nanites left behind or something. And then when it just never was explained that he can like sense the Borg or whatever, I'm like, that don't add up, dude. That's like mystical. That's like we're in like Star Wars territory here. And now it makes sense. It was very nice of them to fix this movie, to fix a big part of the problem, a big problem in the movie for me.
And not just fix it, but also make the story better.
Right.
Like, make the whole Locutus thing even better. So they're fixing Locutus, actually. Not that anybody would have been upset that it hadn't, said, oh, they could have done Locutus better. But it just is better, even though we weren't asking for it necessarily.
Yeah. The best sequel is a sequel that makes the previous episodes or movies better somehow. We've said that before about Marvel stuff. Foxhound, Ed Speleers is phenomenal. What a performance. Yeah. Cannot wait to see his next fate, his fate next episode. Hope he gets a conclusion to his story. Thank you, Foxhound. Thank you very much.
Yeah, much appreciate that. And I agree with you. I even was writing down, I'm like, man, Ed Speleers is just bringing it to the house. Like, we're about to come up to an episode here, or, come to a part of the show where he just delivers, and then, Patrick Stewart delivers. And it's like, it's so just emotionally deep, and like, it just resonates with me. I love it.
Look at this framing. Look at this framing on Jack right now. Like, this is like artwork. You understand that? This shot right here, this is like something that this should go on a wall somewhere.
Okay, so yeah, I agree with you. So, but real quick before we get into that room, so basically after it's all delivered, Beverly says, "I'll go talk to him," and then Picard's like, "No, this is my fault. I need to go talk to him. I pass this on to him." And then Deanna, as he's leaving, Deanna's like, "Hold on, guys. There's protocol for this." And all of a sudden, you realize, like, they're thinking as parents, but Deanna's thinking as a Starfleet officer,
right?
And she's like, "Your son's dangerous." So now Picard has to come in here like double heavy hard. He's got to deliver bad news and kind of double bad news for Jack.
Right. That's true. For Mike Hill, I put money on Voyager showing up to help Picard. Well, we already saw Voyager at the Fleet Museum.
That's true. We did. Well, hey, maybe somebody jumps on Voyager.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'd love that.
CJ for $9.99. I need a spoiler for episode 10. Will we see phasers? Well, normally I don't give away spoilers, but I'll tell you this, CJ. Yes, we see phasers.
Did you see Jack? Jack was actually holding a phaser on the Borg.
You heard it here first.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you, CJ. He actually had a phaser, and I looked closely at that phaser, and that damn phaser looks like a TOS phaser.
It does. It does. I'm not the only one that saw that, right?
No, it looks like a TOS phaser.
So Jack's phaser, the one he's been carrying this whole time, it looks like an old school phaser. I love it.
Sure does.
And I want it. I want to put it right there.
Can you replace it with your little weapon you got back there?
No. All right. No, I can't. I'm going to add to it, bro.
Why don't you put that thing in a safe?
I'm going to have a whole... The firing pin has been removed, Shane.
That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you very much.
It is totally safe where it is right now. Just to be clear, it's safe where it is right now. Okay? The firing pin is in a different... is actually in a safe. It's fine.
He actually runs around playing like cops and robbers in his house.
No, I don't. I wouldn't leave a weapon capable of killing my kids like just on the desk. I took the firing pin out, I took the cartridge out, and
I think it's important that you say that.
And they're in my safe, in my bedroom, and only I can get into that safe.
Okay, now everybody knows that, and everybody feels a lot better.
Okay,
your family is safe.
My family is safe.
If Jack
partially because of this,
if Jack got into your house, he could turn your eyes red, and then you would have no choice.
That's true. Saying. That's true. But I do want that phaser. Okay.
Okay.
Shane's so uncomfortable with a weapon. Like, he acts like he hasn't held.
I mean, it's on screen. It's just weird. Mine's locked up.
Okay. All right, dude.
It's okay. You said the fire. It can't be used.
It cannot be used. I have to put it back together to use it. It's actually really not good for home security because it's going to take me like 15 minutes to get it put back together.
I agree with that. You should keep that stuff at least close to you.
Right. From Tia Toys, could the language spoken by the changelings be Breen just without the helmet respirator? Oh, interesting. That's interesting. Cool. We should ask Terry about that. Anyone else want the entire museum to have gone to the rescue? That would have been awesome.
That would have been so cool. So expensive.
That would have been so expensive, though.
So expensive, but yes, that would have been like if you had like your dream, like how it would go. Like you'd have Voyager,
the Voyager, the Enterprise,
and then you'd have characters from each of those shows.
The Defiant, dude. Warp is on the Defiant, bro.
Right.
Imagine
imagine like descendants of certain characters who are no longer with us, like Captain Archer's great grandson or something, or granddaughter.
Yeah, that would have been awesome, man. That's really cool. All right, now we're in this room. It's about to get heavy. He's like, I'm never letting a goddamn Betasaur in my head again. The fact that she's a former Starfleet counselor, he was really pissed at her.
I mean, the fact she rolled out on him, man. She was like, she gave him no answers. She told him to trust her, right? And then she went into his head, and then she freaked out and ran away.
Right.
So you can appreciate his frustration at this moment.
To be fair, I'd be mad too, bro. I mean, yeah. All right, you want to explain what's going on?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So basically, Picard's there to tell him what's going on, and Jack's very angry.
Of course.
And so he tries to explain to him. He tells him the story. 35 years ago, I was taken. I was assimilated, and that was passed to you. And Jack's getting frustrated. And they have this back and forth. It's a really nice moment here. I'd like to upvote, both the acting for Jack and then also another upvote for Patrick Stewart, who says something that's really critical. He says, I almost killed everything I loved, everything and everyone I loved, and it's like, there's always been like this, you knew that Patrick Stewart, or you knew that Picard was suffering from what happened with Locutus.
Right.
But he's never like emotionally dumped it, at least where we could be around to hear it.
Right.
And he was able to do that. He like emotionally dumped it. He wanted to share with Jack the level of importance and serious this event is. Right. To really share with him why you need to understand what's about to happen. And he really needs him to understand, because what's about to happen in a second is going to doubly hurt Jack. And he knows it. So then Jack, of course, says, no, you're not going to send me to no Vulcan planet. They want to send him to a Vulcan institute, where Jack says they're going to mind meld with him and try to lobotomize the Borg parts. Right.
Right.
Jack's just finding out that this Borg stuff is kind of a part of who he is. And so it's hard for him to kind of separate this. So Picard tells him, no, it's going to be fine. The Vulcan place is called Keslavar. It's a research academy on Vulcan. Jack says, ain't going to do it. And he decides he's going to leave.
Right.
So he starts to leave. And then as we see, there are 2 Starfleet officers.
Yeah. And
at the door.
This is my next upvote, because that was awesome.
It was, especially because what's happening. So Jack immediately recognizes, oh my gosh, my father has once again chosen Starfleet over me.
Right.
I mean, that's what that is. It goes right way back to the beginning of this show, where Jack didn't want to meet him in the first place because he thought that Picard wouldn't want him.
Right.
And now it's happening again. He's having the worst moment of his life. He just found out he's like got Borg in him, and now his father is basically choosing Starfleet over him. And if you didn't catch that, that's exactly what that scene's about.
Right. And the shot is like, it shows him in the background, face turned away. Like this is a shot. This was intentional, the way this was shot.
So well done.
Yeah. Very good. And he was like, I
so
was
another
never
vote for that scene for me.
And he's like, I was never getting out of here on my own, was I?
Right.
And he just decides to stop playing the game. Do what he's been doing his entire life and play by his own rules. It's really what he's about to do right here.
Right. And he does it because his father, basically, he feels like his father turned on him. So then he uses his Borg ability to control the Starfleet security guys, puts trained phaser on his father. You can tell how upset he is. He's got to like train phasers on his father.
To be fair, though, he's not doing this out of like maliciousness. He's like, I'm just going to solve the problem myself because I can't trust people around me to do it.
I don't even know if he's that clear-headed about it. I think maybe he's in pain. He feels like he's probably been backstabbed in a way.
Sure.
Plus, he's trying to deal with the fact that he's got this incredible revelation that now he has to deal with. He's not thinking clearly.
Right.
You know, obviously he does the same thing to his mother. She's like, no, Jack, don't go. We'll figure this out. We'll blah, blah, blah. You know, and he's like, nope, I'm going home is what he told her. How hard could that be for a mom to hear that?
Right.
Like, you know, like I don't even belong to you. I belong to the Borg.
Right.
So,
but
he's not going. Go ahead.
All right, and the Borg queen, you know, like she's calling him the entire time, so he knows where to go.
Right. Well, he didn't. Yeah, he thought it was his mom's voice he was hearing.
Right.
All those years, but it wasn't. It was the Borg queen's voice. And here's what's jacked up is like his intention isn't even to go. He wants to trade himself for information. He's so desperate to know how this happened and why this is happening that he's willing to trade himself for it. And then he basically says something to the effect of, "And I'll show her exactly what I'm made of."
Right.
So he's rage filled right now.
Which was a cool thing, though. It's like, oh, she wants me? All right, cool. Lock and load. She can have me.
Yeah, I mean, he's ready to go out in a blaze of glory, kind of.
Right. Very cool, actually. From Daniel Altamirano, ARS 90. Oh, look, Santa is in the house. I cried right there.
Can you pop it up on the screen?
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed it. Did I miss, look, Santa being in there?
Look, Santa in the house. I cried right there. I don't know if I didn't see her, if that was the case.
Yeah.
Tell us what scene that was in, Daniel.
Yeah, clarify that, because I have a crush on her, or I had a crush on her.
Well, she was in the house because she was the voice of Enterprise Decomputer, if that's what he's talking about.
Oh, that's what he's talking about. Okay, yes.
Yeah. That's what you mean, Daniel. Absolutely. Now, look, yeah, it would be cool to have Troy's mom on the show, but as the voice of the computer, it was wonderful. And we'll get to that point, but it was wonderful hearing her voice and that memorable.
Yes. From Black Magnum for $5. What the heck does Captain Kirk have to be on the Daystrom station? LOL.
Okay. So Black Magnum, thank you so much for the super chat. Captain Kirk is there because it's just fun as hell.
We made a whole video about it.
We did. You should go watch it. It kind of explains what we think, but just the fact that, Kirk died on Viridian 3. I think it's Viridian 3. He died, saving the galaxy again with Captain Picard, but it was just not a good death. It really wasn't the way we would have wanted him to go out. And so it was cool that Terry brought his body to Daystrom Station, because we don't know what happened to Kirk's body after that. He was buried on Viridian 3, but there's books that William Shatner wrote, because he didn't want his character to die, that have Kirk living again. So it was kind of cool to find out that Kirk's body's there along with the Genesis 2 device, right?
Which by the way, you have Kirk's body with the Genesis device.
Right.
What happens when you combine the remains and the Genesis device? What happens, Shane?
What happens? Well, you get Spock back. That's what happens.
Right, yeah. And you get like you get the young version.
Yes, you can. Well, it does age back, but yeah.
I mean, eventually they age back. Right, but this is the Genesis 2 device. Does that one age back?
There upgrades made? Right. Could we have Captain Kirk in the 25th
I'm sorry.
century?
Terry put all that stuff in there for a reason. He wanted us all to do this.
He wanted us all to want more Star Trek in the 25th century.
Right.
And he just thought it was cool. When you ask him, why did you do it? He's like, because it's freaking cool.
Yeah. And I think that if Terry does get a shot at it, I can totally see him like trying to like tackle a young Kirk again or something like that. That'd be super rad.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Anyways,
Andre
hopefully that
Benson said for $2 says last week Jack Fraser. He said last week Jack Fraser looked like a TOS Fraser. Yes, that's right.
You did, and Andre, that was the reason why I was looking so hard this week.
Yeah, I didn't believe you, man.
I wanted. Well, I know I believed him, but you could only see like the front pointy part of it. You couldn't see the side. This week you got to see the side, and so confirmation, Andre, on your point.
Yes. This is when she talks about Wesley. This is my first downvote. I'm kidding.
No, I thought this was great, but look, can you go through the other 2 super chats real quick?
I gave Wesley space and lost him to it.
I thought it was great. This is such a freaking okay. You want to talk about this now? Upvote, please, because Picard is saying, you know, he got the best of you and the worst of me, and then Beverly in return says, I gave Wesley space and lost him to it. I watched Jack too closely, and I was too close, and I missed it. Yes, they're both angry and upset with themselves over what happened, just as a parent would do when something horrible happens to your kid. You blame yourself, and I thought it was just beautifully. Whoever wrote that shit did it fantastically. Her saying those words, I gave Wesley space. She did. He had the run of the ship. He did whatever the hell he wanted to do, right? And she lost him to space. I mean, it was just beautiful, really poetic words.
I agree. That's very poetic. Although it didn't help when the guy in the space van came offering candy to the young Wesley, and no one told Wesley not to accept candy from strangers.
Yeah, you're probably right.
That was weird. It was weird. I'm never gonna let that go. It was weird.
Yeah, I know you bring it up every week.
Yeah, because it was every time Wesley's brought up, it's weird. It doesn't work. It's weird.
Well, it's not that. Listen, they had to get rid of him somehow,
and they were just trying to get rid of Wesley.
They were getting him off the show. That's exactly what it was.
Okay, so we really need to get rid of Wesley. What do you suggest? Like, well, how about this? How about a guy come in who's really into him, right, and then takes him away off the ship?
Had that been acted properly by the alien character, it could have been really cool. If he had been more like Obi-Wan Kenobi, then, you know.
Yes, actually, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
If he had been more like mentor Obi-Wan Kenobi and less googly smiley face guy,
more Yoda.
I think you're right. But alternatively, you could have just sent him to the freaking Starfleet Academy.
They could have, but they wanted to make it. I don't know. They wanted it to be something. Remember, he was supposed to be special. You got to remember, you know, Beverly had sex with a ghost candle. And so all of her kids are now special.
I want to thank Gates McFadden and Deanna Troy for awakening the young me when I was in my teens. I appreciate that.
You're welcome, Brian.
Foxhound for $1.99. Troy, useless and not even in Starfleet.
Oh, what? Oh, it's talking about like her. Oh, I see. Yeah, she's not in Starfleet anymore. You're right. That's actually a good point.
Yeah,
she didn't do a great job helping Jack out. That's for sure.
Yeah. From Wahani 94, the amount of energy Patrick Stewart applied to his voice when he said "engage."
Oh, right.
Goosebumps for days. Love your show. Greetings from Finland. Thank you.
Thank you, Juhani. I got to tell you that I loved it. I did notice exactly how strong his voice when he said engage.
Yeah.
Like it's good to have Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, it was like, if this is the last time, I'm going to give it everything I got. It was great.
And I tell you what, you can't appreciate that if you don't watch the first 2 seasons of Picard.
No, you can't.
You can't appreciate what just happened. I know a lot of people didn't want to watch it, but you have to watch the first 2 seasons to understand how awesome that moment is.
You don't got to watch the first 2 seasons.
In order to understand how awesome that moment is. Yes, you do.
To get the absolute most out of that moment.
Yes.
Sure.
You do.
But
you don't have to. Right.
Was it worth watching all of that? I don't know.
Well, I can understand why I can appreciate this so much more, maybe.
I'm going to upvote this because I love this, like the date. You know, I love the scene with Data and Picard here. Like, his hand
so
on his
nice.
shoulder.
Yeah, it shows, and I'd like to vote it too. It shows first Data having empathy, right?
Right.
But even more importantly, we already know this about the new Data, that he's got, you know, more human feelings, and he senses that Picard needs this. Data's basically come to tell him that they can't find the shuttle, and that Jack is jamming the transponder most likely. And Picard, it's not just that Data gives Picard affection. Picard then gives Data affection.
Yeah.
He returns the empathy to Data. Not a typical move for Patrick Stewart or for Jean-Luc Picard. And it was just nice to see this growth in his character.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay. Back to Jack.
Oh, real quick here. Jeremy Schneider, $2 super chat. Who would have guessed that being a Borg was STD? Was an STD? Yeah, that's a good point. Pass it on to your kids, man. It's not a good STD to get.
It's good. All right. Okay. Here we go. Here we are with Jack.
So he gets to the destination. So, you know, obviously he must have sensed, or once he made his full Borg connection, was able to figure out what the coordinates were from the Borg. I'm guessing it was in his head. I think another nitpicky thing people are going to come back with is, how did Jack know where to go? You're going to have to deal with this on Saturday with a certain Matt Kadish, by the way. So he's going to have all these questions for you. So you'll want to be armed with how to answer them.
On like how you knew where to go?
Right. Because, you know, they don't explain it necessarily, but, you know, you have to, you know, believe that there's a lot going on in his head that we don't necessarily know, that he's just figuring out this moment now that he's accepted the fact that he's got Borg.
So I do know that the Borg drones, they know where to go.
Do they? I guess they do. There's some sort of homing beacon.
Yeah, they have some kind of beacon or something, because like how many times we're like, their default mode is to like power up, you know, take over a ship and return home.
I thought it was the other way around. I thought they are able to send a signal to the Borg and the Borg come get them.
No, I mean, in Enterprise, when they were awakened in the Antarctic, the first thing they did was they took over a ship and they were trying to get to, home.
Right. That was the only time in all of the time Borgs have been apart where I've seen it done that way. It's usually the opposite way. Like they send out a signal to let the Borg know where they're at.
I'm sure I can probably find other examples, but off the top of my head, the only time I remember there being disconnected Borg, like, what did they do? They created a ship and they were trying to get home immediately.
No, because you got in TNG, you had the iBorg, which, Hugh, right?
Hugh.
And so they had to disable his transponder because he was trying to let the Borg know where he was at. Then you got Ichib, right, when he was separated from the Borg. And in both times, the situation was they had to make sure he couldn't connect to the Borg, or else the Borg would know where they were at or come to them. That's what I thought, anyways. But you're right. First Contact was that way. But I don't know if there was another option, because you got to remember the Borg were in the Delta Quadrant. So I'm not sure what else those.
Yeah, so maybe it works both ways. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. But like I would guess that if the drone has the ability, like the same as like a pigeon or an ant,
makes sense,
or a bee, like they know where to find the queen, right?
It's believable, definitely.
Right. I'm gonna upvote this because I like this shot of the Borg cube. I've always had a thing for Borg cubes. One of these days, I'm gonna finish our Borg cube computers.
That would be great. Yeah. Thank you to Cherry.
Cherry Tree gave us these awesome Borg cube cases, and it's just so expensive to put a computer together. So.
Yeah, if you ever get a chance, you should check them out. They're not sponsoring this video, which we do have to talk about that after this review. Once again, we did not take care of our extra
Oh
guys.
My goodness. We got a super chat from Michael Nemo. The robot is correct. 7-9. I had to pause from deep gut busting laughing at this line aimed at.
Yes, that was so great.
Not stop laughing.
I love 7. You know, God, you just a reminder of how much you love 7 of 9. You got to remember, 7 of 9 doesn't know Data. Right. Like, you know, so she doesn't know Data. So she doesn't have like a personal connection to him or anything. So she
has no connection to him. Right. This is like, this is all the only, this is the entirety of her experience with him.
Yeah. So the robot is correct. I love that as well.
That's great.
So we learn here that basically back when Picard had this thing happen to him with Locutus, is that the Borg actually added to his DNA. So his DNA was changed, but 35 years ago, they didn't have the ability to detect it, apparently. Now they can. And based on Beverly's theory, or what she's put forward, they've now done the checks and they found out that, yes, this is exactly what has happened. So this is confirming Beverly's.
I see.
Stuff.
So they have a transmitter protein. It's like, let's spell it out for everyone. Transmitter protein, receiver protein. Got it.
It's good science. I mean, this is good Trek. I mean, this is like explaining things in a sciencey way so that it makes sense. Is very much appreciated. And we learned that Jack is essentially a transceiver, right? So he's able to put out to other Borg, whereas I think Locutus was a receiver, so he was just able to receive.
Yeah. So I don't even know. Like, someone tell me in the chat. Like, do we know how ants and like bees do it? In the real world, because like ants, they just know where to go. Like they communicate.
Hive mind, right?
Like they're literally a hive mind. Have we figured out how they do that?
I'm sure there's ideas, but nobody would know 100%. I don't think.
Yeah, I would like to know. Now I want to go watch like a National Geographic thing about ants. Thank you, Terry.
Yeah.
All right. So they're asking that he was never assimilated.
I think it's important here what Geordi says. He says he may be Borg, but that's not all he is. We needed the reminder that, because right now everything that we've seen is he's basically accepted being kind of a Borg. We're talking about him like he's a Borg, and Geordi brings back a little bit of the humanity of Jack and saying, look, he's not all Borg. That's not all he is.
Right.
And we need to remember that because he's not the villain here.
Right. From Jamie Moore for $10. Thank you, Jamie Moore. As much as I'm loving the show, I don't love some of the earlier Jack stuff. I get that he's Borg, but why does he have visions of killing the crew, and why now? Seems a bit disjointed to me. Rest in peace, Shaw. So this is how I took it, Jamie, and you could correct me, Shane, if you want. The closer it got to their mission, the closer they got to like, the Queen's goal or whatever, the more pressure was exerted, and the more he was having those visions and that influence from the Queen. Like just like he wasn't having him his entire life, or he was, but he maybe wasn't at that level because they're getting closer and closer to that goal. I think that's the case.
Well, I think Beverly mentioned it, and thank you again for the super chat. Beverly mentioned this episode, or Picard says it to Beverly. He says, don't be so hard on yourself. It was because of you all these years that actually kept this from happening sooner. So I think it's probably his state of emotional distress, the fact that they're under so much pressure and he's not able to normalize, maybe, that this is finally like kind of succumbed him, like it's overcoming him based on all the stress that he's under, kind of like a virus would or something like that. So I think that's, when you have a low immune system, what happens?
Right.
Like you get sick.
Right. Like when I'm up for 3 days, straight, like editing video, I often get sick. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Jack,
because Shane makes me edit video.
I don't
like some kind of like slave in my video mining, cave.
Okay. You would do it. You wouldn't do anything else.
So no, I wouldn't do anything else. I'd do the same thing.
Yeah. So, and rest in peace, Shaw. Absolutely. We're going to get there, and that's going to be really great to talk
From
about.
Deadfly for $20. I just caught that you said if it's the last time he says engage, he's going to give it his all. I know you won't say anything, but pull your left ear. If Picard dies, cry like a baby at the end of episode. Well, this is my right ear.
Which? Oh, wait. I didn't miss that. Where at is that?
He says, because I said if it's a last, when he was referring to engage, like he said engage with gusto. I was like, well, if it's the last time he's going to say it with. I was actually referring to the actor, like if the actors.
Well, did you say the last time? Because what I heard was the last time he said it. You're saying this is the last time.
Well, I mean, like this is the last season, the final season of Picard. Like Patrick Stewart's not coming back for this role.
I guess the point, what Brian's trying to say is, I guess what Deadfly's trying to say is, does he say engage again next episode?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to answer you. But I'll tell you this.
Honestly, he probably doesn't remember. But because this was like the big engagement.
Yeah, I actually don't remember. Like, straight up.
This is the big, like, this is the first time he says it on the D.
Yeah. Right? I'm not really talking about, I wasn't really talking about him saying it, like the character saying it for the last time. I was talking about the actor playing it for the last time in this. Like, this is the last time he's playing this character This is the final season of Picard. The guy is like 197 years old. You know what I mean? Like he's not coming. He's not coming back for this character again. Is right?
I mean, he could.
I mean, I guess he could.
He could. In fact, he said he wants to. If you guys remember from Comic-Con, all of a sudden it was like,
that's right.
I thought it was hilarious because you got Kurtzman
I would like to do movies. And Kurtzman's like, shut up. Shut up.
Him and Kurtzman are on stage together. And Kurtzman's basically saying, this is it. This is the last voyage. And then you got Patrick Stewart going, well, I'd be okay with making some movies. Right. And then you see Kurtzman's face is kind of like, God dang it, this old guy won't shut up.
Patrick.
So let's just put it this way. We will not tell you if Picard dies, because we will not ruin episode 10 for you. But I do think no matter what they decide to do, they handle it correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. All right. So as we speak, all of Starfleet is gathered at Frontier Day. Okay. So everyone that was telling me, like, doesn't this seem like a Matt Gatiss specifically? He's like, doesn't this seem like a tactical error? Why would the whole fleet gather at the same time? I was like, yeah. And are you trying to get me to spoil it for you, bro? This was the intention. It was a tactical error. That was the point of this. This was all planned.
Yeah, and when we get to that point, it's going to be really interesting as to why. So from Kenneth LaRoque, thank you so much, buddy, for the super chat here. The $5.50.
The Borg are one. They should know where every other Borg is. Oh,
that's right. Well said. So if they're connected, then they should know where each other are. So that's a good point.
That's a good point.
Slayer Santiago, $5. Thank you so much. Paramount rebuilding the TNG bridge set is really epic. I really hope they have plans to use it for future shows. Would love a proper TNG season 8. Oh God, wouldn't we all? Yeah, huge shout out to Dave Blass, who hopefully is watching this. We communicate with him on Twitter, and he's a really great guy. They painstakingly made sure that every element of that bridge was exact. Right. They went back and looked at it. That's why Michael Akuta's back. That's why all these people are back, because they wanted it to be exact. And guess what, guys? It's exact.
Yeah, they knew there was going to be a ton of us super sweaty nerds like, excuse me, did you see the plant in the corner? It's about 3 inches to the left. You need to correct for that. I can feel their pain, bro.
Yeah, I will tell you the one thing that felt different about the shot was, to me, I never really sensed the walls on the sides of the when we get there, we'll look at it, but I really never sensed the walls in that way. And really looking at it like that, I had a different sense of the bridge in a way, right, but it all looked exactly the same. Yeah. So thank you for that super chat.
So what do we got here? We got the Enterprise F.
Oh, okay, you're too far. Go back. You went too far.
What?
Okay,
no,
go
I
back.
didn't.
Yes. So the next shot, and then stop right at the thingy, because there's a lot to say before you show anything else.
Right here?
Okay. Yeah, stop it right there. It's great.
Okay.
It's really important. Let's do these super chats real quick before we do it.
Okay, so I'm trying to, you're pushing the super chat. I'm trying to filter them in as we're going through the review.
I know, but these are things we've already talked about.
Okay.
I just don't want to go too, you know what I'm saying?
All right, Christopher Mays, if I wanted to knit the Picard receiver DNA stuff, wouldn't that have made him susceptible to Borg control in First Contact? I mean, I think it did, though, because like in First Contact, he was like seeing crazy visions, and he was not 100%.
Yeah, but I think, could the Borg have taken control of him? I think that him and Jack are different types of Borg receivers. I don't know if they could take back control of Picard based on, and also they mentioned that it took years of, basically Jack was born with it, so he's almost got it in a little bit of a different way, and it had to like mature through him all these years. So
maybe the the forced DNA didn't take as much. I don't know. Dan Candy, the Titan skeleton crew sure got better after last week's massacre.
Yeah, that is something that's a good point. There's not a lot of people on that ship, but they seem to have enough to get done what they need to get done. Good point, though.
Okay, what's going on in this scene?
Okay, and do you want to do the bugs one more, because you were talking bees?
What bugs?
Arvel Whitaker. Bugs use pheromones. I had a wasp that kept coming back over and over again, even though I knocked its nest down.
Sorry, where are you seeing that?
Super chat after the last one? After Dan's?
That's weird. I don't see that.
Okay, well, I'll just give it here. So what he was saying is you were asking about how bugs talk to each other, and he's saying they use pheromones.
Oh,
so that's cool. Pretty cool. Yeah, I love that. Thank you. So and then from Joey,
so they can smell.
Yeah, I
guess hold up on the Joey stuff. Let's go forward. We can get to that. I'm trying to pepper him in, bro.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is really important here. Can you get rid of the 5 and the 7 really quick?
Make my life hard.
So we can see this here.
Yeah. 1 second.
Sorry. Okay. Woman over comm space dock. This is NCC 1701-F.
Yes.
What ship is that?
The Enterprise F.
The Enterprise F. That's right. So we get our first introduction to the Enterprise F. And guess who's in charge of it? It's Admiral Shelby.
Fitting.
Now, do you guys remember? Yes. Do you remember Admiral Shelby?
Admiral Shelby. It's very fitting that she is in charge of this.
Yes, it is very fitting because Admiral Shelby, of course, was one of the important characters in Best of Both Worlds, which was the episode where, Jean-Luc Picard is taken by the Borg, becomes Locutus. She's kind of part of this whole thing. And her and Riker have this back and forth that's very interesting. And she's an important character in all this. So it just seems really appropriate to have her back now, kind of in charge of things and having the Borg here. And she's a part of this. Riker says it here in a moment, which I think is very interesting, is that Riker basically says, doesn't she see that this is very hive-minded, what she's done here with the entire fleet and them being able to communicate with each other and basically be automated. So based on each other. So I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, it's super rad. And we got a super chat from Joey. I almost don't want to see the next episode. This cliffhanger is so perfect. I could live with it forever.
Yeah, there's a part. Joey. Yeah. It'll never end if they don't finish it, right, Joey? I feel that.
Yeah.
This is a nice homage to Enterprise, the TV show Enterprise. She talks about NX-01.
Yep.
First warp 5 capable vessel. And what's cool about it, she talks about it in this really passionate, loving way. It isn't just a mention. It's like, something to be really proud of. And to be honest with you, Enterprise hasn't gotten a lot of pride, the TV show, really at all in Star Trek since it went off the air. This is like the first, like almost embrace of Enterprise, I would say. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we had like a statue of it in one of the previous episodes, but yeah, this was the first time like they actually just say it out there. It's nice.
They honor it. I'll take that upvote too. I really love that Enterprise is getting some love on this show. So appreciate Terry doing that.
Yeah, and I feel like the Enterprise needs to be finished properly, Terry. I'm just saying, Terry, if you get the chance to do it again, if you get the chance to like finish Enterprise, I know Scott Bakula would do it. I know I would.
Well, he wouldn't do Quantum Leap
because he's not doing because he's not doing Quantum Leap.
Right.
Yeah.
So these, can you pause real quick? So here with the, this is going to be something that's going to be complained about. The fireworks, right? So I'm sure everybody went, how are there fireworks in space? Right? Because if you don't have oxygen, you can't have fire, right? And so it's very interesting because I went ahead and looked it up. I'm like, okay, well, what could you have? So apparently you can have fireworks in space as long as you have some sort of an oxidizer available. So it actually in the future, it could have been set up so that there's some sort of like liquid hydrogen or liquid oxygen inside of the fireworks to cause this kind of light display. So it is possible that they develop something in the future.
I mean, you can see that. You can see the trail of like the shuttles, the comets. You can see things interacting in space. Like this wouldn't have been.
Well, that's light off. Okay, no. Well, what you see from the comets is not made from the comet. That's light reflecting off of the sun,
off the tail, right? But like, okay, so when the shuttle, like when the actual shuttles are coming in and out of the atmosphere, you can see stuff. Like
like when it's burning, yeah, because there's oxygen. I'm just saying this is something that people are complaining about. So, and it's true. You're right. You don't have traditional. You can't have just traditional fireworks in space. If you take a look at some of these images, you'll see it's more cloudy than it is actual explosions. So I just know that's something people are going to complain about. And I wanted to find if there was, was it wrong or was there an actual way this could have happened? And apparently, according to science, it is definitely something that could have happened. So.
All right. And no way to take me out of it, but okay. From Dustin Cole for $2. It looks different because of aspect ratio.
Oh, good point. He was talking about the D.
Yeah. I thought the same thing.
Okay. That's a good point, actually. I didn't think about that.
I love me some proper aspect ratio. You know that, Shane.
I do know that.
Yeah, what if they're holographic projection fireworks?
That's a good point.
And there's that phaser.
There it is. Okay, so there's the phaser, dude. And I wish if you can make me disappear for a second, we can see it. I love that you get this shot, this side view, and it looks really like. I wonder if we could pull up an old TOS phaser. We're looking at it here. Here's one. Oh, there it is. I mean, okay, so the old TOS phasers don't have like the lit side like that where it's lit up, but I gotta tell you, it is damn close.
He customized his with a gamer RGB. That is.
I love it. There's no way to pull it up. I wish I could.
It's more powerful with RGB. That's the rule. So yeah, it looks like an old phaser to me.
I should send you an image of it so you can share it, huh?
All right.
Well, later on, if you want to, I just sent it to you.
All right, cool. All right, yeah, we'll do after the review. All right, here we go.
No, it's appropriate that Riker is the one kind of smack talking her a little bit, because he's the one that, he and her kind of rubbed each other the wrong way, and she was kind of almost a threat to his leadership, I think, during those episodes of TNG, because she was really intelligent and she was kind of taking charge, and but they worked it out in the end.
Yeah. All right. So you want to explain what's happening?
Well, so they're basically showing this demonstration. They have the entire fleet, and what they've done is they've set it up so that the entire fleet, all the ships, can talk to each other automatically and become automated to be a better defensive measure against anybody attacking the Federation.
Right.
So the ships basically work as one, which ideally makes a lot of sense.
Like a collective.
If you think about Nova Corps, what's that?
By the way, Shane totally accidentally spoiled this like 3 episodes ago.
I did?
Yes. When like episode 3 or 4, when they were talking about Frontier Day, it was the one with Geordi. They're like, yeah, they don't like the fact that the ships were networked. You're like a collective, right? And I'm like,
oh, you're right, but I didn't mean it like that. Like, I didn't mean it as a spoiler, but it just came off the top of my head. I wasn't even thinking of the episode, but you're right.
I remember thinking, okay, move on quickly.
Because you're right. Because I said, oh, what do you mean, like a collective, right? And I'm like, I had totally forgot. And you're right. That was my bad.
We got a super chat from Crazy Ghostbusters. The changelings may have made themselves a target by using the Borg. If the Borg know about the shape-shifting abilities, the Borg might invade the Dominion space in the future. What do you think? Can the Borg assimilate the changelings?
We don't know.
Yeah, I guess
we've never seen it. But what do they say? We're going to take your unique distinctiveness into our own.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, the changelings are similar to the Borg, at least in the fact that they can become one.
Yeah, like and they share some kind of link too, right?
Yeah, you're right. Well, the changelings have their own mental link when they're linked up. Now they have to be actually physically linked in order for that to happen. But the Borg have this other ability. So it says the Borg might invade the Dominion space in the future. I mean, based on the Borg and how the Borg work, their whole goal is to take everything over, right? So right. I don't know why they would let the Dominion survive.
Yeah, I don't know why either.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good point. Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you, sir. All right. So now they're crashing the party. So talk to me here. We're back with Jack, and he is sussing out the Queen.
Yep, here it is. She calls him her child. And of course, he's basically come to. You can see the look in his face. That's such great acting by Ed Speleers. He's emotionally compromised, and she tells him, if you were going to kill me, you would have already done it.
And he tries.
And he kind of does. I mean, he looks like he wants to do it, but she tells him that almost as if he can't do it.
Yeah, he can't. His hands were shaking. He was trying.
And And of course, when he hears that, it makes him realize that all is lost.
Yeah, look at his hands. Like he's trying to shoot her.
He just can't.
He wants to, but he can't.
Something inside of him, his Borgness, is not allowing him to do it.
Yep. And here comes the thing.
Yeah, this was a hard moment, man. It was hard to hear that thing go into the back of his neck.
And your struggle, my child. Resistance is futile.
Love that. And his eyes go black. It was like, oh
super rad, bro.
It was like, it breaks your heart.
Up vote for me, bro. I love that.
Me too.
Up vote for you too. And we got a super chat from T Stoney. Remember, Adama refused to allow Galactica to be integrated and networked either. A lesson that still applies. Yeah.
Amen. Absolutely. Thank you, Adama. Saved Battlestar.
Yeah, sometimes you got to have that good old fashioned, what do they call it? Airlocking or whatever between, sensitive computers. You need them to be air gapped so that people can't just hack in.
Oh, well, the virus in Battlestar Galactica came from being connected to the internet.
Right.
So, yeah.
Or the network, yeah.
Yeah, the network.
This is Starfleet code.
Okay, so this is where we learn how
this is the part I couldn't explain for so long. Why? Everyone was like,
You do it.
Everyone was like, why not use the teleporter for this? Why about this? Look, guys, all the teleporter chiefs were all changelings.
Right.
It's like they were all changelings. This is why Ro wouldn't use the teleporters. This is why all those teleporter shenanigans were going on, because the changelings were in charge of the teleporters and they were using them to alter the DNA of Starfleet personnel so that they would be susceptible to Jack.
Yeah. So do you want to explain how they were doing it?
With the transporter system.
Yeah, but how they did it? Do you want to explain how they...
You mean like the science behind the...
Yeah, like can you explain how they did it? You're saying the transporter system. What did they do?
Oh, they modified their DNA.
Right. So every time somebody would beam in or out, they would add the Borg genetic code that they got from Picard, right? That's why they took the pieces of his body.
Right.
And they would use that altered DNA and instill a little bit in each of the Starfleet people that came into it.
Right.
And that's how they were able to do it.
Which was super rad. I'm uploading
it's so cool.
Yeah.
So cool for me too. The whole creative process of we asked who figured out the transporters, and nobody will give up exactly who that was of the writers, but whoever came up with that was genius.
And right now, McCoy is smiling. I told you, suckers, stop using the transporters. From Southpaw, when they boarded the D, I was instantly a kid again. Great job paying tribute to the legacy. Any chance 10 is an extended episode? Great stream, guys. It is an extended episode.
Yeah, it is. And
yeah, if you guys missed earlier, when you think it's over, it's not over. And then when you think it's over again, it's not over. Okay, there's 3 endings to that sucker.
True.
Like I said, that's not a spoiler. Just don't stop watching until you see white text on black screen. That's all I gotta tell you.
Yeah, that's not a spoiler. No, that's pay attention.
Yeah. And from Geordi Nerdy, I like that. Geordi Nerdy. That's great. I wanna use your nickname. I guess Admiral Hansen was right. Riker was hurting his career by holding back and not becoming a captain a lot earlier than he did, as Shelby is now an admiral and Riker is still a captain.
Well said, Dirty Nerdy. Yeah,
that
was the advice. Because, of course, they didn't want to break up our Enterprise crew. Will didn't want to leave Picard.
Right.
But he needed to.
But he probably should have. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So they're there. They're trying to warn Shelby, right?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
So he manages to, he ends up making the call out. They show up, makes the call out, and Shelby's like, "What?
What are you talking about, Picard?" And then the comms go dead. This is when it gets crazy. What happens, sir? All the comms are down. Massive energy spike. From where?
Where's that energy spike coming from?
Upvote. Upvote. This is where it's coming from, baby. Look at that. Oh, look at that. It looks so good. It looks great. I love these graphics. Beautiful.
Describe it, or where's it coming from?
At the Borg cube.
So it must be closer than you realize.
Right. And look in the background. Formation mode. All the ships go into formation mode.
Right.
Because they're networked like a collective.
Which we get to see visually in a second.
Right. Super rad. All right. And then they start figuring out, this is the great. Another upvote from me. This is so good.
Yeah, this is really, I love this.
They're trying to talk to Mira. And what's going on?
Well, we have what happens is Seven's having a problem, right? You can see her, she's touching her implant, she's struggling, and they said, what's wrong, Seven? And she says, it's a Borg transmission. So that's what you saw the engine turning up. And now we're seeing the result.
Right.
Mira is turning into a Borg.
Look at this. That is beautiful. And
so
I like how it's not like the classic Borg, though. It's like, it's different. It's like,
well, it has to be, because there's no way for them to, take on any connective devices.
Right.
They don't have that. They're not on the Borg cube, or they're not, I guess they could start taking it from the Enterprise or the Titan itself.
No, my Sydney.
Yeah. But because of their DNA and the way the DNA is done, it's kind of a little bit different type of assimilation.
So, yeah, so both the LaForge sisters, basically everyone under a certain age.
25, yeah.
25. And they figured out that I guess it just doesn't work for the old cats.
At 25, at 25, your frontal lobe stops changing.
Right. It was funny, though. Shaw was like, why does it happen to me? Or something like that. And Seven's like, well, judging by the gray in your beard, boss.
Yeah. That was great.
Yep. And this was great. This was another upvote from me. I'm sorry, a lot of upvotes at the very end here because this was all good. When Geordi's like, no, I have to save my daughters, and Data's like, stop, we need a plan.
Yeah.
Like Data, I hate to say it, this is a better version of Data.
It's taken a little getting used to.
Right.
And I do like it, but it is different, and I do like, when push comes to shove in the end, Data got his full come around.
Right.
I mean, he's not truly human, but he does get to a place where we would have loved to see this character be able to experience. So yeah, I'm very happy for him.
Yeah. And do what? We need a plan. He stops. He's comforting and helping his friend. It's great.
Yeah.
Oh man. This is
all of our bridge crew, which we've come to adore, is being assimilated, and it's terrifying.
Right. And this is when Riker says we need to get off the Titan before it's too late. And coming up pretty soon, guys, is going to be the hardest upvote of my life.
It says here the reason why is the Titan is being controlled remotely, so they lost control of the Titan because of this ship, fleet-wide thing.
Yeah, look at the USS Excelsior. Apparently, wasn't being controlled, so they just blew the sucker up.
Well, they managed to wrestle control away, and once that was realized, then they destroyed it.
That's wild. Look at these names real quick. I don't want to get off topic here, but really cool. The USS Hakura Sulu.
It's so great. The Sulu, yep.
The USS Cochrane.
Yep.
Right? And we've seen the Intrepid before, right? The Magellan. I love that.
That's great, yep.
Trumbull.
Where's the Akuta? Look at the Akuta down there.
Oh, yeah.
The USS Akuta from Michael Akuta.
These are all really cool Easter eggs.
The Gilgamesh from the Bible, the biblical times.
Christopher May is giving me 3 upvotes for Shelby getting taken out. She's the worst. Okay, boss, you asked for it. There's your 3 upvotes.
Wait, are you and Chris voting, doing it together here? What's going on?
Listen, Chris wants me to upvote. I'm going to upvote. Okay.
All right. This is how
I feel like it was fitting that Shelby was there, but I never really liked her character, so I didn't feel anything.
When you give Brian money, you can control his vote. I love that.
That's not true. I'm not a shill, Shane.
You are. You just shilled for Christopher.
Well, no, I'm a shill for my fans.
Oh, well, there's nothing wrong with that. You should be a shill.
Sure.
You should be a shill for your fans.
Lazy Hog for 99 cents. Thank you, Lazy Hog.
Thanks for that. Appreciate that.
Okay, yeah. So I love this though. I love that the Excelsior, and of course it's the Excelsior.
Hey, can you remove us? They're saying the Pulaski's there. I don't see it. There's the Drexler. Doug Drexler. It's awesome that some of these great VFX specialists and people who've brought us so much Trek.
I'm looking for the Pulaski. I don't see it.
We've got the Venture.
I see the Drexler.
The Furswood.
I see the Akuta.
The Trumbull. They're off to the right up here in the corner. I guess we can't see it, but there is something, a ship up there.
I'm sure. Well, all right, maybe it's there. All right, no, but I love this, guys. First off, I love that it's the Excelsior. The Excelsior has always been that one ship that we never really got to see much of, right? Mm-hmm. But they were always doing their job. I love that it's the Excelsior that got the control back first, and then showed how dangerous that really was. That was really cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, so they gotta get off the ship.
Oh. Yeah, they're going to eliminate all of the unassimilated. This is a great shot here. I love how, unlike Picard Season 1, there's a bunch of different looking ships here. Not all the same ship.
Are you saying that maybe it's not a good idea to copy and paste 3D models onto a screen?
You should not do that. Yeah. It's
not why, Shane?
Star Trek fans will know.
Right. That's why. You shouldn't do that because Star Trek fans will know. Right. Immediately. They will know. Andre Benson, Star Trek zombies that shoot you. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
and the USS Gilgamesh, a nod to Darmok, I believe. Oh, that would be cool.
Oh, Darmok and Jalad. The Gilgamesh. Yeah, that makes sense.
Darmok and Jalad.
Good one, Mr. Steffer.
Yeah, thank you. And the formation looks really rad. Everything. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, I love this.
Oh, so you get Borg language.
It's the perfect molecule, man. And I've never been so happy to see so many wrinkles.
That's great.
All right. So coming up here, the hardest upvote of my life is coming up, man. Oh, okay. No, this is an easy upvote. This was so good. Okay, this was so good that I'm gonna risk a copyright claim. I'm gonna play it for you guys.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's just too good. It's too good not to play it. Ready, guys? Let me get this.
I hope we die quickly.
Get us there. What makes you think there hasn't already been destroyed?
Data, could you try being a little more positive?
I hope we die quickly.
So good.
I'll take that upvote too.
I'm upvoting hard, bro. I hope we die quickly.
That's great.
Oh man, it's great. All right, so they're trying to get out of there. Oh, but shut up.
Oh, okay, go back. Gotta go back a little bit. We gotta talk about this. This is important. So
yeah.
They're trying to get off the ship. There's only one shuttle available. There's really no way to show this, huh?
I'm gonna figure it out. 1 second.
Obviously, so what's coming is Captain Shaw is going to die. And as we alluded to earlier, I don't think the people who created this show really believed that Shaw was going to be that beloved of a character. Like, he served a really good purpose. He was the kind of character we needed to kind of play against, Picard and Riker and everything going on. I just don't think they realized that we were going to fall in love with him. So when they decided to get rid of the character, they really wanted to give him a good ending. Because, Todd Stashwick's a great guy. It's a good character. And how did he make it? So if you go back to Wolf 359, he was the one randomly chosen to be saved,
yes.
Right?
Oh, it's so powerful.
And there was only one escape pod available, right? And here he is now, because he wasn't able to save his friends then. He's saving his friends now by standing and being the one that stays behind while they get away.
Oh, it's so powerful.
Dude, upvote me 2 times, bro.
Oh, it's so powerful.
It's so, like, if he's got to go, like, this is the way to go.
And they got him. They get him, and he's dying. And then when he says, like, you know, he calls her 7 of 9.
He calls her 7 of 9, bro. I mean, come on. Everybody who was upset about that, I mean, come on. It's the perfect moment. Like, it's the perfect moment for this character.
He says, you have the con. Oh, bro. Dude. Oh, I'm not crying. You're crying. Oh, it's so powerful. So he's finally able to save his friends that he couldn't do way back then. And then that moment where he's like, you have the con, 7 of 9. God.
Yeah, it's not my ship anymore. I was really, really emotional, man.
Look, I have theories on how he returns. I will express them after the review. Don't go anywhere.
Okay. Yeah, we can't forget about that. That's good.
Yeah, can't forget about that because I got serious theories. Big downvote for Shaw died, not Rafi.
Hey, you got to do it. You got to do it.
All right. Christopher Mays has spoken.
Christopher, you are like the Borg. You're like Jack controlling Brian.
You got me,
with
Chris.
His boats.
You got me, buddy.
I hope your pockets are deep, sir. You could take this thing off the cliff.
All right. So they're on the shuttle, and this is when we finally go to Hangar Bay. Hold up, before we go there.
Finally.
From Reservoir Prime. I had to watch the scene again when I noticed they weren't with the rest of the crew on the D bridge. Rafi and 7 stayed behind on the Titan.
Yes, they did. And I think there's a good reason for that, obviously. And thank you for that super chat. I mean, they wanted the moment where the TNG crew is back on together on the bridge. And that's why that was done.
Right. Christopher Mays, downvote. Rafi outlives Shaw. Okay. All right, man. Call the problem.
I'm going to upvote the fact that Christopher Mays has control over you.
Listen, the reason why they're on the Titan was because it's her ship. She's the captain of that ship now.
That's right. That's
right. That's her crew, and they're not dead. They're not like dead. She needs to be there when they have the ability to help them. She needs to be able to help them. T. Stoney, if they even have that. I say it again, Liam Shaw, the people's captain.
Amen.
So good. And here we go. Hangar Bay 12, finally. Finally.
I've been waiting. So Geordi's spent years. It's
the Enterprise D. Oh, you guys don't even know. Like, I mean, you probably do. But I was losing it. I don't even want to. I reached up and I'm like, why? What is going on right now?
What is this leakage from my face?
I didn't expect for a computer model to do this to me. The model of a fictional ship was like was breaking my insides, bro.
When that ship went down during Generations, it broke my heart. You know, when the saucer section crashed, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the D is one of those ships. Other than like the original Star Trek ship, I think the D is obviously my favorite. And this is just so wonderful. Getting the reactions, the looks on me. This is the part that I rewound 7 times after the show was over last night. And I just kept rewinding it and watching it over and over and over again, because this is the moment you had to have watching the show. Like, if you're saying goodbye, the Enterprise D is a character on TNG. Honestly, it is.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been right not to have that character back as well.
Yeah. That's a good point. So the ships are characters to a lot of these people. Like even Enterprise, the NX-01 is part of the crew, right? It's a character to us.
Yeah.
The ship matters to us. The original Enterprise mattered to us. The Enterprise D really mattered to us, right? Voyager, that weird shaped, beautiful ship, mattered to us. This is also a reason I always put DS9 as like the bottom of my list, because I wasn't attached to the space station the way I was attached to these ships.
That's a good point.
It didn't feel the
like
same.
The Defiance.
But when the Defiant came around, now the Defiant's a character.
Yeah,
which
that's
is
right.
which is coincidentally probably why they added the Defiant.
Maybe, yeah. And then also you've got this really great scene. So Data actually has emotions. Like he's having an emotion over, and that's not something that Data would have had before. And so Deanna tells him, of course, you know, you're not alone, Data.
Hey, no money G for $2. Never thought I'd say it. I wanted the big D. You never change.
Dirty.
Never change, no money. I love it.
Awesome.
I wanted the big D too, bro. All right. So Geordi explains that basically he was saving it as a surprise. Obviously, we can't use the Enterprise E. This is the line.
I love this. The timing of this is so good. You know, it gets a little uncomfortable. If you go forward, you can have it paused. LeVar Burton's face looks like this.
So
right, his face looks like this.
So you have this moment where we're all emotional at seeing this ship again, and then they hit you with this line,
right?
And it's like an emotional roller coaster of laughter, and it's really good.
And they're all standing next to it. There's next shot. If you go forward just a touch, there's this next shot where
Enterprise E.
You know, he says, you see Worf and everybody. Oh, and LeVar's going to be behind you, but basically there's this pause. They kind of look over at each other, look over at Worf, and then he's like, "That was not my fault."
That was not my
like
fault.
This look, right there. Look at Jordan's face. It's great. Oh, I love it.
That was not my fault. I know for a fact though, like we have friends that are like really into ships that right now are like, "That's it, that's it, that's it." They're losing their minds over this.
That is it for the E. The E is not the hero of this show, but no. I'm sure the E will have its day.
Yeah, so he was gonna save the D as a surprise, but considering it's this, you know, the second circumstance, he's showing it to him early.
Okay, I need an upvote here. You've got
me too.
You've got the coming out of the turbo lift, bro. When you see them coming out that turbo lift, it's like the turbo lift is like it's the front door of the house, right? For us, when we're watching TNG, that's the first thing you see when they're coming in, and it's like I had this moment where I'm like, I had these like backflow of memories. You know, of how many episodes did we see someone coming out of that turbo lift onto the bridge? Yeah. You know, and it was just a really wonderful thing. Did I upvote that right now?
You did.
Okay.
And Kayla Aldapi for $5. I cried when I heard Majel Barrett again as a computer on the Enterprise D. Yep.
Yeah, Majel. Oh, so awesome.
So now can we please address the elephant in the room? Everyone asking Terry why he didn't use Majel Barrett's voice on the Titan.
Well, I don't know.
People kept asking him that, and they're like,
"Oh, that's true.
Are you not aware that there was a library for Majel Barrett?" And every time he was just saying, "He was like, yeah, you know, I wasn't aware of that, bro."
It wouldn't have been as impactful.
Yes, it wouldn't have been as impactful if he used Majel Barrett's voice on the other ships and then here too. And the thing is, people start losing their minds at like the first episode when they haven't seen anything yet. Like, I totally get like being critical. I understand that. And I understand being critical after a few episodes, but I feel like you got to give it a shot to shake out. And I understand there's some showrunners that have a history of never delivering on promises. That's different. But, you know, Terry didn't. And the restraint that dude had with the hundreds of people complaining about not using Majel Barrett's voice. The whole time, I'm just reading Twitter like, this he's gonna crack. This guy's gonna crack really soon. So like hundreds of people asking about it, dude.
Well, what was the common word? What do we tell everybody? Keep watching.
Keep watching.
Keep watching.
Keep watching. Yeah.
Oh, I just love this whole scene here. Oh, look at this. It's just so, I mean, the seats, the lighting, the con. Oh, I just love this so much. Please give me 2 upvotes.
All right.
Just so I can imagine Worf standing back up there behind the.
Yep.
You know, I see everybody.
From Deadfly, I watched this episode twice, one after another. Dudes, can't tell you how emotional I got seeing this ship again and seeing the cast on the bridge. Yeah, me too, bro.
You're so right, Deadfly.
I couldn't. It was like I'm a grown man, and like this moment was really, it was getting me. It was like it was taking me back, right back to being like 17 years old. You know.
I love how they pan around this all the shots here in this on the bridge. They pan around, they give us every angle. I mean, it's like when a brand new sports car comes out and they give you like every angle and all the side shots and everything. It's just Terry and everybody did such a good job of making sure we saw it. I mean, he gives it 5 minutes.
Yeah, he gives it a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really, I mean, you have to. It's
he knew what he was doing. It's like, here you go, guys.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Well, it's what he wanted to see.
Here you go. Come here, little nerds. I got something for you. Come here. Let me show you.
And he wanted to see it. I mean, part of this, you guys got to realize, part of this is he wanted it.
Right.
You know, he made it, but he's getting just as much enjoyment out of making it come to life as we would, as we are right now.
Of course.
It's like he's feeling the same thing.
And how many of us out there, if they had the money, would turn their living room into that bridge?
All of us.
Yeah. If I had the money, my living room would not be a couch. It would be that bridge. Right. Identically. Maybe a couple more chairs, but pretty much that bridge.
And Star Trek playing on loop on the front display.
A moment that will live in Trek history forever from Brian Harvard. Thank you, Brian Harvard. And you are right. This is the moment that you're going to see for a long time. And I hope it's not the last big moment, we see for a long time. I hope Paramount gets their crap together and understands what they've done here is so remarkably special that to just go back to business as usual, in the 47th century or whatever, I don't care, is so underwhelming.
You know what's bitching is the next time you watch TNG from season 1 to season 7, you're going to get to the end of season 7 and you're going to pop on Picard season 3.
Yes. And that's exactly what I'll do. Next time I binge watch TNG, I'm literally going to go TNG, the movies. I'm going to go TNG, the movies, and then boom.
Yeah.
So great. I'm going to skip Insurrection though. All right. So here we are. We're on the ship. And there, look at this. Hello, chair. I love this.
It's Data. Such a Data thing to do, I love it.
Oh, I love this. And there's the computer. What a beautiful scene. I wish I could play this, the audio for you guys. But
well, you know what's weird is just about Data really quick. Like during Generations, I actually hated the emotion chip.
Oh yeah.
It bothered me. I didn't.
Yeah, it bothered me too.
It really, really bothered me. And it was like such a difference. And, there was really I don't know. I just didn't like it. But for some reason I like this. So it's like hard to like, because I think it's more smoothed over. It's not as overacting or overreaction. And plus I think the emotion chip made Data worse back in Generations, not better.
But to be fair, I don't think it was supposed to work.
I mean, it was meant for.
No, I know, but I don't think it was ever supposed to work properly. It was supposed to be like a story point or whatever.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's what I think.
I didn't like it.
Yeah. Weapons are ready, although they are limited.
I love how he keeps saying, I like the E better.
Make it so. Eyes in the back at the helm. They're at the helm. They're in their chairs.
There it is.
Engage. Oh.
Give me that upvote, baby.
I'm upvoting too. And you know what? I'm gonna try to play this without getting flagged. Let me see if I can play it. Hold up, guys. Okay, so first off, this right here. Look at this. Look at this. It's the whole crew in their positions.
Great. Just love it.
Hell of a thing, dude. All right, let me see if I can play this. There we go. Okay, I'm going to play it. I'm going to do it. Here we go.
Engage.
You got to hear it. It felt good. Felt strong.
Yeah. If I play just a little bit, Joey, I can get away with it. All right. And there's the ship. There's the ship. About to go to warp. Oh, what a sexy thing this is.
Gorgeous.
And
then boom, that's it.
That's it. Okay.
Wow. What an episode, guys. What an episode.
I feel like I just went on a roller coaster again. So, first off, hell of an episode. Look at our score. 15 to 17. That's a solid 16. That is the highest score we've ever given a single show on this channel. Whatever show we've ever reviewed, that's the highest score.
That's true. You're right.
So, all right, let's wrap up our thoughts, and then we'll go into our theories. This episode and episode 10 are one movie. They're together. And they're going to be playing together in IMAX for that reason. Like, they're one big story.
Yeah.
So if you like this episode, you're going to love next episode because it's going to be the conclusion to everything, but specifically this episode. We learned a lot. We learned a ton. The Borg is the big bad. We know what's going on with Jack. So what's the goal? The goal is to save Starfleet.
That's it.
So you got the old crew back on the D, and they got to go against insurmountable odds. Once again, got to save the galaxy.
Yes. That's what it is.
I mean,
some people are like, some people keep saying, why is it always they got to save the Federation? It's always they got to save the Federation. Like, people complain, why do they always got to save Starfleet? Because that's what it always is. If you go back to all of the big movies, they're always saving, there has to be consequences that are worth something, especially at the end of TNG when you're wrapping up the big story.
Of course.
Yeah, there has to be heavy consequences. Now, if you go back to Picard season 1, I know we keep kind of hammering on it, but those Mass Effect aliens, that's kind of OP. Or you go back to Discovery and these creatures outside of the solar system are destroying our soul. It's just kind of a weird thing. You're right. It's really big. This is not that big. This is not galaxy destruction big, but it is the Alpha Quadrant. It is Starfleet, and it is the people, the things that we love. And there has to be consequences for us to believe it and be, fearful for our crew. So,
well, this is also not a brand new villain that we'd never heard of before. This is a conclusion to 9 seasons of television, 9 seasons and 2 movies, or 1 movie at least.
Well, 7. This is okay. Are you counting all of Picard?
No.
TNG had 7 seasons.
No, I was counting other. I'm sorry, I'm not just counting TNG, but like.
Oh, okay.
This is a chapter in the grand story of the Borg in Star Trek across all Star Trek. Like, this isn't the C-10 aliens that we've never heard of before in some other Beyond the Great Wall, whatever. This isn't the Burn. This isn't Mass Effect aliens we've never even heard of before in a dimension we've never even spoken about before. No one's ever touched on. This isn't new. This isn't some new threat that we have zero information about. This is a story this has been being told for 30 years or 25 years. This story has been being told for 25 years. We're
longer than that, but yeah.
How long? 30 years?
Yeah, well, since you got to figure the Borg came into season 2, season 3,
season 2.
So the Borg came in, that would have been 89. So you're looking at 34 years.
So over 30 years, we've been telling this story. We're in the end game now, boys.
And girls.
Yeah. I was quoting someone, but thank you, Shane. We're in the end game now.
You're always quoting someone.
This is the end game. Mm-hmm. This is it. It took a long time to get here. Thank God for Terry and his team to finally get us here. For the love of all that is good. Thank you, guys.
There's a lot of closure here, guys. That is a really good way to put it. A lot of closure we never really got. TNG didn't have a true ending. Voyager did.
Voyager got home. Didn't. Voyager got home.
Right.
Yeah. Andre Benson, the score. Thank you, Andre. The score really made the scene with the Enterprise D better. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Star Wars. Pay attention.
Back there.
Pay attention, Disney. Use the music that people are emotionally connected to when you make your TV shows about your IP. If you're making a Star Wars TV show, use Star Wars music. It's not hard. Not hard. I don't understand why it's such it feels like common sense to me, but I don't know. Ensign Ricky, as usual, they're the only ship in the sector. That's
right, baby.
That's a fact, Jack. Thank you, Ensign Ricky.
Apparently, we're the only ship in the sector, sir. That's right.
That was like the common theme. From Joe, from Late Night Trek, I will never need Blue Chew again. This thing won't go down. He's talking about Viagra, bro.
Well done.
That's good. Nice work, Joe. Always.
It's funny you knew what. It's funny, Joe, that you knew what the slang for that was. Just saying. Go ahead.
You talking about me?
No. Well, I guess both of you. Yeah. Now that I really think about it, you both knew it.
Yeah. Well, we're connected to the zeitgeist, the internet zeitgeist, Shane.
I've just never needed it.
Wow. I'm sorry. Did I just get burned right now? Oh
I don't know. You were burning me.
So. Joe. Ruse 321. Our crew is about to warp into a hostile situation, outnumbered 100-1. The situation appears hopeless, and I'm so hyped to see how they triumph.
Woo!
Yeah, baby.
That is the right answer.
Absolutely.
Right?
We're in the end game now. I love it.
Yeah, on other shows, you might be worried that they won't triumph, right? Maybe.
Right. Okay, so we're going to wrap up the review, then we're going to talk about theories. If you're watching us after the fact, then that's great. Hit that subscribe button in the way of the comment section and get ready, because next week, the last episode is going to rock your socks off.
Literally.